everyone. This is Triple Play Fantasy. We are talking about divisional previews, the NFC North, and we will be covering you for fantasy football. All right. Of course, my internet cuts out right there in the middle of the intro video. So I hope you all can hear me because everybody looks frozen, but Joe's laughing now, so we're good. We're back. Gotta love it. So thank you all for tuning in. This is Triple A Fantasy. I'm not gonna lie, it is weird. I am your host, but the normal back in the day host, and back in the day I mean like 3 months ago, was our man David here. He's now just guesting with us because he's excited to welcome his first. It's a baby girl, right?
Yes.
First girl in the world. Very exciting. So he's got baseball in the mind, but we brought him in for football. A little pitch relief there. There you go. Slide it in a baseball joke. So we got David, we got Joe, and we got Doc. We're covering the NFC North. We've already covered NFC East, NFC South, and now we're just moving across the country. So if you missed those episodes, go back, check our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. But, I mean, David, we got to go to you first. Talking about the Vikings. So what do you got for us?
Man, those Minnesota Vikings. I feel like the hot name. I mean, we could talk about Justin Jefferson. I think most people have him as the wide receiver 1, obviously. And you could say even the consensus 1.01 in Dynasty and redraft, wherever you name it. Justin Jefferson's the guy. He's good at football. So I don't think we have to spend too much time on Justin Jefferson. I think the most interesting name for this team right now going into the redraft this year is Alexander Mattison. Some people like him. Some people don't like him. Where he's going at ADP obviously depends on the site that you're looking at. The thing, and I'm going to open up to you guys too, because I do not like Alexander Mattison. I am a big anti-Alexander Mattison guy. He's not an explosive runner. He only has 10, 20-plus yard runs in his career, which you're like, oh, well, he's been a backup most of his career. But he has over 400 career carries. So to only have 10, 20 or more yard runs on 404 carries, I think says a lot. A career 4.1 yards per carry runner, that's okay. Only has one 40-plus yard run, so really one breakaway run to his name. I just don't think he's explosive. I think he's somebody that came in a relief role after Dalvin Cook kind of wore down the defense and kind of benefited in those situations. And I think he'll be exposed this year, especially on a team last year that had the third highest amount of percentage of passing plays. The Vikings averaged just under 65% percentage of pass plays, which was third in the NFL. I don't see that changing right now, especially adding Jordan Addison in the mix. I'm really anti-Alexander Mattison this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at
August.
There's the delay.
Yeah. I'm not even like a huge Alexander Mattison. I'm not a huge Alexander Mattison fan. I was when you knew what his situation was in Dynasty, that you knew he was eventually going to become the starter. So you knew you had an asset to trade later on. But now I feel like he's hit his ceiling. And we've said it every week, like you got to treat it like a stock. I can't see him going higher than where he is now. He's not going to take the league over in any sense. They have 3 wide receiver sets all the time. They love playing 11. They have a great tight end. I'm cooling off on Alexander Mattison. When everybody thought Dalvin Cook was staying, that's when I was getting him in best ball and everywhere else. Now I'm cooling off. I'll let everybody else go for him. Oh, not this comment. Why are we here already?
He has limited receiving upside too. 15 receptions last year. It's interesting now all of the prop lines are out on the sports books, and his rushing line on DraftKings is 900.5 rushing yards. I assume you all feel comfortable with the under on that.
I'll take that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was really contemplating betting it, but I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts before I put my money on it.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for that under, and I'm a big fan of how Ty Chandler can catch the ball and how Dwayne McBride can run. So I just feel like they're going to use them all. I mean, and I know I'm going to bring up the Eagles because it's my team, but they've kind of showed that you don't need just one guy, really. You can have a couple other people come in. When you can have weeks of Boston Scott and Gainwell and everything like that, why only use one? You don't have to anymore. Unless you have a Saquon Barkley type player, you just don't have to.
Remember 2 years ago when everybody thought Madison would be the guy when Dalvin Cook went down with like a shoulder injury and Mike Boone got the majority of carries?
Oh, that's a name, Mike Boone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Mike
say
Boone.
the other player I feel like I should bring up, Jordan Addison, who
Joe's guy.
What?
I said,
Is
"That's
that your guy,
Joe's
Joe?
guy."
I will
I
feel like I
hated
should let
him,
you
and
talk
then I
about
love
it.
him.
I can't. That is like Joe's guy. Like the Philly Jordan Addison with the Philly accent in there. That's his guy.
I just listen, man. The dude can break routes like no other. Like I didn't like him at first because I thought he was slow, but now he's paired off next to Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. He's going to have easy coverage, and the man can run a route tree. So now I love him. So yeah, Jordan Addison, all for him.
And Adam Thielen had a 17% target share last year. So I mean, Addison in year one, why can't he get something similar to that? Which in a rookie season is not bad. Obviously, that could go up depending on what happens with KJ Osborne. What TJ Hawkinson does in his first full season in Minnesota. But Addison's an electric rookie, so I think he could be a really good complement to Justin Jefferson. Obviously, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be in this class, but we look at like the Devonta Smiths, the T. Higgins, these type of guys that are like really good wide receiver twos on their team. I feel like that's his ceiling kind of on this team is to, he's never going to be the alpha, but hey, man, he's a really, really good number 2 wide receiver. I think that could be in his range of outcomes.
So he doesn't have a higher ceiling than Justin Jefferson.
No.
Hot take, no.
Yeah.
The guy on the Vikings that I'm out on ADP is Hawkinson, honestly. I think he's getting way overvalued.
Yeah.
That's
tough,
same.
though.
I mean, what do you have? One top 5 finish technically? Like he had good weeks, but he had one top 5 during all that.
I think it was.
I don't know. I'm not reaching for that.
I'll have to look it up right now. I think it was the fantasy football semifinals where he went.
I think it was week
off.
16.
Yeah, and that's part of it is recency bias. Yeah, so week 16, 13 catches on 16 targets for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then 12 targets the following week. I mean, I will say in his time with Minnesota, more than 5 targets in every single game, and he had less than 7 targets in 2 games.
But at the same time, Adam Thielen was out there with a walker. So, like, what are you gonna do? Throw it to him? Like, you have Justin.
I do think there is a middle ground. T.J. Hawkinson being tight end 3 with an ADP of 39 according to Fantasy Pros. That's too rich. But
that's
like,
my
if he
problem.
would drop some.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got a couple questions from the chat. So we got Madison or P. Ryan.
Madison,
I think.
I'll take whoever's later.
I'll go P. Ryan for ADP, but
What is their ADP difference actually?
I thought we meant your. I assume with these questions, it's like they're both on the clock.
Well, let's see. P. Ryan is RB 37 according to Fantasy Pros, and Alexander Madison's RB 29.
I mean, I would take
give me P. Ryan.
I would take P. Ryan.
Yeah. I'll take the discount if we're looking at the ADP difference.
Yeah, and that's a big guy. Sean Payton obviously makes running backs like better for fantasy. So he could catch the ball, he could pass block, which is important to get him in there. So as long as he's on the field, that actually matters. I'll take it. Oh, this next question, I feel like it's a simple one.
I feel like KJ Osborne. I gotta go KJ Osborne. I feel like he's well liked there.
I'm going. Season, I gotta go Addison.
Addison, man.
Yeah,
get me on that Joe Pesci train, man.
Yeah, KJ Osborne was so well liked that they went out in the first round and got a wide receiver.
Yeah, and is Jordan Addison saving people's lives, or is KJ Osborne saving people's lives?
That winning you fantasy leagues or not, Eric?
I don't know. Jordan Addison hasn't played. Why do you think the Vikings kept Kyle Rudolph?
You want to bet this? Do you want to make a bet?
He was the community award winner or something like that.
It doesn't matter.
You sound like the Cowboys fans who are like, Dak Prescott walked away.
Why do you think they kept Kyle Rudolph so long? They liked Kyle Rudolph because he was a good member to the community, and so is KJ Osborne.
Yeah, so am I. I'm not getting on a football team. Like,
yeah, but you were a mascot, so you're like a step removed from that.
So, Eric, are we betting this or not? Are we betting this or not?
I mean, no, I don't feel that confident.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna look silly like week 6.
Well, then with that, we're gonna move on if you're not gonna bet it. So, can anyone dethrone Justin Jefferson this year? I would have to probably go with Cooper Kupp. Yeah.
No, I'm low on Kupp. I'm low on
Cooper Kupp did it last year.
Yeah,
maybe Tyreek Hill if he ends up having one of those crazy explosive 50-yard touchdowns like every other game, but there's not a big list.
Yeah, I mean,
last one.
I would say it's either Chase or Kupp, right? That's probably the only two candidates.
Yeah, that would be the most likely. But I love Jefferson still.
Yeah.
And then our last one from NBA Rig. He's all in on Hawkinson. I don't feel this at all, but he wants to bet a 75% chance of him being king of tight ends for 2023.
Travis Kelce is still in the league. So.
Yeah. Rick always gives good hot takes, and I like it. He always gives good takes, but I can't doubt Travis Kelce.
Yeah, not doing it.
Nope. All right. So we'll move.
Who's talking about the Packers? Because this is a good question.
I have the Packers. I was gonna save that one for when we got there. I kept them. I kept them, but we're gonna move to the Lions real quick for Joe. This is a fun team.
Yeah, listen. I like the hype around the Lions, and I like that they're better. They're not a 2-3 win team, but I'm not as high as everybody else is on them because I do think there's still gaps and holes for the team. Now, but for fantasy, that's a different story. Like we got Jared Goff, who I'm not rushing to get. We're going 9th, 10th round, in my opinion, for him there. But I'll take him over like Aaron Rodgers right now. I like the weapons that he has there. Yeah, I'm not as big on Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, and I'm sure we'll get there when we get there type thing. But I'll take him over Russell Wilson. I'm not hopping back on that train. And then Derek Carr, if Derek Carr doesn't have Michael Thomas on top of it, then all he really has is Chris Olave. So I'll take Jared Goff over all three of those players. I don't know how you guys feel. I threw 3 names out there. Go ahead, discuss on who you would rather have if you rather have Jared Goff over them.
The only thing I feel about the Lions is their defense got so improved that I don't know if they'll necessarily be falling behind and game script being favorable for them to throw as much as they did last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a problem. I just don't think they're that improved. I think the names are nice. I feel like they're better. Obviously, that's a given. But I don't know if they're going to be like a close to the top 10 in any sense. They might be like a middle of the pack. And for middle of the pack, I'll take that, especially when like I'm not real worried about the Bears. I'm not real worried about the Packers. There's 4 games there. The Vikings are going to be games where points get thrown on the board too. So, and then they get the Chiefs, and then they get the Cowboys at the end of the season, right in the playoffs for you. So that's going to be a high-scoring game, I feel like. So I'm a big fan of Jared Goff. I'm a big fan. Well, actually, let's go from big fan to who I actually don't like, and it's Jamar Gibbs. So I'm curious what everybody thinks. I'm going to let you all discuss it.
Yeah. Down on the farm.
Wow, that's
community right now.
Give me all the Jameer Gibbs.
Look, it's not that I don't like him. It's that he's getting drafted so much higher than David Montgomery.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, there you go. There's the answer to that question on the bottom right there. Because Jameer Gibbs could get 3 catches for 40 yards, and I could get a 5-yard touchdown run from David Montgomery and have pretty much the same exact thing and not need 3 catches for 40 yards on a drive. Like it's almost the same situation again. We're back to Swift and Jamal Williams. And what happened? Every time they went inside, they went to the bigger guy. And it is
kind of crazy. They cleaned out their running back room.
Yeah. And they brought the same situation right back.
They
though.
did.
It's not like they
that is actually
style.
Crazy to think about that they cleared their running backs. And on paper, it looks the exact same as last year.
They just got younger, which what's wrong with that?
That's it. And I'm not mad at that. And Gibbs has talent, but he is a smaller guy. And David Montgomery is not a small guy. They literally have situations set up. We've seen this last year. I'm not saying he's going to score 17, 18, 20 touchdowns, nothing crazy, but he is going to get the first looks inside the 20, definitely inside the 5. And I'd rather have the guy that's going to score touchdowns at the later ADP.
Is it a must if you draft Jameer Gibbs to go get David Montgomery?
Ooh, no, I don't know if I could do, because that's pretty high ADP for both. In that situation, I think that's an either or for me.
Okay,
I would do a best ball for that, but I wouldn't do it in redraft.
Is he reading my notes? Like, because that's the dude I'm hyping up. Like, I feel like Toby is here. He's read my notes because my guy is Marvin Jones. Like, am I the only one on this train J-Mo Williams is out for 6 games. We have Sam Laporta, who's a rookie tight end. Like, we have a rookie running back who might be great, might not be great, might not be big enough. Like, he's got to do something. He's got to have that big pop play. Like, in best ball, he's 209 in underdog right now, and I've been getting him every single time with my last pick because why not?
Or the Sun God can just get 15 targets a game.
Probably, yeah.
At some point, they got to cover him a little bit more, I feel like. At some point, he's got to get covered up, and they got to put the ball somewhere else. And for the first 6 games, at least, Marvin Jones has a reason to be alive for this team. So for DFS, for underdog, for DraftKings, stuff like that, Marvin Jones will always be on my radar at least to start the season.
They're due to be a random 4 touchdown day. He has.
Yes, they play the
and
Divisional.
He will be on my bench. Yeah, and he'll be on my bench probably for that game. But
that's why you need him in best ball.
Yeah, exactly. Best ball is everything. And then, we're talking rookies for this team, which they have a decent amount of them that are like, important. But I'd rather go for Sam Laporta late and hope he's going to be the 2 in the offense while J-Mo's gone than Jahmyr Gibbs so high up when I can get David Montgomery late. So I'd rather have Sam Laporta out of the 2 because I'm going to go late on tight end anyway. So my last 2 picks will probably be a tight end, and one of them will be Sam Laporta, and I'll be happy with that.
All right. Well, you mentioned best ball, so we got to throw up real quick. Underdog Fantasy, use promo code TRIPLE. They'll match your deposit up to $100, so that's free money. You got the best ball Mania 4 right now. It's $25 a game, so we just got you 4 games to that to try to win $3 million. And we also have the Scott Fishbowl Satellite going on right now. You can max enter that 150 times, $5 a game, and it all goes to Fantasy Cares. And the top 250 at the end of the season automatically get into Scott Fishbowl 14. So, I mean, you can't talk about an easier way where you get to raise money for charity and you get into Scott Fishbowl 14 without even sweating it. So definitely check out Underdog Fantasy and make sure you use code TRIPLE, TRIPLE. All right, and with that, we're going to move on to the, the Packers, which there's been a lot of fun comments going on about the Packers. So I'll keep it quick. We'll get to the comments. The QB situation is very simple. It's just Jordan Love. That's all. He's the only one there. He's a clear starter. I want nothing to do with him if we're talking in a 1 QB league for redraft. No, thank you. Sleeper is Romeo Doubs for me, but of course he just got hyped up literally today. But he was the wide receiver. He's wide receiver 58 right now. Pick 125. You can't get much more sleepers than that. I know someone mentioned a comment in here. Let me pull it up. Let's see. Down on the farm asking, is it a smoke screen? I don't think it is a smoke screen. I'm sure it is legit.
Yeah.
And I definitely do favor him over Reed, especially the first half of the season. I feel like rookie wide receivers definitely seem to, for the most part, hit their stride in the second half of the season. Best case scenario. So I do prefer Dobbs over Reed, but yeah, I don't think it's a smoke screen. The overvalued player is the one who's not higher than the ceiling is Christian Watson, wide receiver 21 right now, pick 39. No, thank you. I don't know if you guys were looking at any of his stats from last year. He had maybe we'll call it 4 good games. He could have had a good week 1 if he didn't drop a 75-yard bomb on the his first target in the NFL. He's very boomer bust for me. Is he a dynamic athlete? 100%. But we don't know how good Jordan Love is. We have no idea what that offense is going to be like now that Aaron Rodgers isn't there. I'm not touching him as wide receiver 21. It's really all about the ADP for me.
That is high.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yep.
If you don't have any Green Bay Packers this season, are you going to regret it? That's
Probably
one of those
not.
teams I feel like Aaron Jones does well. I'll be like, okay. But Christian Watson is a good wide receiver. I'd be like, I'm glad I missed that. I don't feel bad that I didn't take a shot. I don't have any regrets if I don't take a Packer.
I'd like to get Jordan Love in 1 league, but I don't want to overdraft him.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm touching him. I like A.J. Dillon because of how he came on at the end of the season last year, and they were using him a lot inside the 20 for that. But I'm not feeling anything. And with the Christian Watson thing, he's closer to being Chase Claypool than he'll ever be Justin Jefferson. I think a lot of people are forgetting how Chase Claypool blew up for a couple games in his rookie season, had a lot of touchdowns. They're like, oh my God, this big guy, what were they calling him, Mapletron or whatever, and then he's done nothing. Christian Watson's on that teetering board. It's possible. So I'm good. I have the Packers going under. I think it was 7.5 when I bet it, so I'm not really feeling.
Wait, you told me you had the Packers under 9.5. If you got it at under 7.5, under 7.5,
I have the Packers under. I have like the same bet like 5 different times throughout the summer so far because it keeps moving. The 9.5 was March. That's when I had them.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet, Joe. That's a good bet.
And then 7.5 was like the last week, and I have nothing I want from the Packers, so I'll stay away from that team. Draft players from good teams. That's kind of the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of good teams, we're going to talk about worst teams real quick. Toby wants to know who has the worst fantasy assets, the Packers or the Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
There's literally a whole faction of Twitter saying start Clayton Tune. If that's an option, I want nothing.
We're talking about how Trey McBride is a deep
there is one player on that team I will roster.
James Conner.
Yeah. No, Greg Dortch. Always.
Greg Dortch.
You. He'd be invited to like be there for the birth of your kid after all that.
He would get to choose your middle name if he was there.
David, Greg Dortch and Sky Moore. You can pick one.
Oh, that's hard, man. I don't know. I mean,
they both won you 12 bands.
I know. I feel like Greg Dortch because the first one was more special. The second one didn't even matter.
I wish I could say that. The first time I won $12,000 was more special.
That's the crazy thing is we're talking about multiple times within 3 months of David.
I can't wait till NFL season comes back around, man. Betting has been like more up and down in the other sports. I need football to come back.
That was a wild time. Mm-hmm. Wild time for him, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm just waiting for you to be up in the middle of the night, just trying to chase these lines and make these crazy bets when you're sleep deprived and you're like, I don't know what went wrong. I was betting Dortch every week and I couldn't catch it again.
I'm just mad he ignored my DMs, but I said
I'll try and get him on the pod for your birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
We got to tag him on the show. Shout out Greg Dortch. All right, for the NFC North. But we'll finish it up with the. I mean, I guess there's some excitement, but I mean, I don't know how excited we are for the Chicago Bears, Doc. How are we feeling?
So I think it's interesting. Justin Fields is going as QB6 and ADP of 43. Last year, he didn't have any games with 30-plus passing attempts, and he had 25 or less in 13 out of the 15 games that he played. And I think we're going to see probably the best statistical passing year, but probably the worst statistical rushing year. There's no way he repeats 1,143 rushing yards. He also had 16 fumbles, which I think gets swept under the rug a lot. Mm-hmm. That rushing upside but they've given him the best weapons. I mean, right now the QB's going above him from Fantasy Pros. We have Mahomes, we have Josh Allen, we have Hurts, we have Burrow, we have Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields at 6, going before Herbert. I mean, where you guys feel comfortable taking him?
Keep going.
Not before Herbert. Yeah, not before Herbert. That's for sure. I'd rather have Herbert out of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think QB 7 is his floor. I know some people have him in their top 5.
Yeah, give me the 3 players after Herbert.
Okay, so after Herbert, we have Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence at 8, Watson at 9, Dak at 10.
I put him above Dak, and I'd have a question with Watson, but that's just because there's a rushing upside to it, and I'm a sucker for that.
He had 7 straight finishes in the top 8, back-to-back 40-plus weeks, and you don't see that ceiling very often of a QB that can get you back-to-back 40-plus games, which is why I think he's ranked where he is. He'll be a really interesting guy to judge. A guy that I'm not going to touch is Deonta Foreman, running back 43, an ADP of 120. He signed a 1-year, $2 million contract, but only $940,000 is guaranteed. He has limited receiving upside, 23 catches in his career. Last year, I don't think he would have been healthy the entire season if he wasn't used sparingly the first 5 games where he had 12 carries. And there's going to be competition between him, Roschon Johnson, who Z2 mentions.
I love Roschon Johnson.
Khalil Herbert. And Justin Fields is probably going to get some carries. Roschon Johnson, I think, is pretty out there as a rookie. I think when they took him in the 3rd round, that was kind of a given. But I like Tyler Scott as a sleeper. I think we don't know what we're getting out of Claypool. DJ Moore is established, but I think is going to be that good intermediate route runner. We'll probably take some of the defense away. but he's a vertical threat, a 4.39. I read they might use him in some jet sweeps. Justin Fields loves him. And if Darnell Mooney isn't healthy, like he could be that deep threat from there. So that's a guy I'm keeping an eye on. And I also really like Cole Kmet as a sleeper. I think when we look at it, Zach, why are you shaking your Zach? Tell me why you don't like him. And
I don't like him either. I don't like him either. I'm with Zach.
All right. Tell me why you guys both don't like him, and I'll tell you why I like him.
It's the passing game, and there's just not enough targets to go around. There's just so many more upside tight ends that would take over.
Yeah, Eric. So Chicago had a 43.8% passing rate last year. I remember JJ Zacharyson said that was the lowest passing rate in the last 20 years. So let's say even it ups a little bit. DJ Moore is probably going to have a 25 to 30% target share. Justin Fields is going to run a lot. Obviously, you have a bunch of running backs that they're going to cycle in as well. I mean, what's his best case in terms of target share percentage and the amount of targets he's going to get?
Okay, so last year, Justin Fields had 7 games with 10 or more rushes. I bet that goes down. So I think the passing volume goes up from last year. I think when you look at Cole Kmet's 2022 season, it's really kind of weighed down by the first 2 games where he had 1 target each game. But I'm looking at compared to ADP. So he had 69 targets for the season. If you look past the first 2 weeks, good job, Zach. He had 67 the rest of the year. David Njoku had 74. David Njoku is going tight end at pick 106. Cole Kmet is going tight end 13, pick 125. Cole Kmet had 5+ targets in his last 7 out of 9 games. And he's 6'6", 280 or 6'6", 260. So I think that's a good red zone target. Right,
but they didn't have DJ Moore last year. Their number 1 wide receiver was either at that points Chase Claypool.
So
Darnell Mooney. DJ Moore is going to demand at least a 25% target share.
Here's my thing: when you bring in a wide receiver, it can go one out of 2 ways. It can go you force feed them the ball, or they are now the focal point of the defense. And coaches like Bill Belichick say, "All right, we're going to take DJ Moore away and let somebody else beat us."
But those are only specific coaches that know how to scheme like that, and even doesn't always work that way either.
But I don't think it's a given.
Justin Jefferson is schemed against every single week, and Justin Jefferson gets open.
Okay,
Travis Kelce is schemed for every single week.
Perfect example with Justin Jefferson. Hold on, let's Justin Jefferson. What did he do week 1 to the Packers?
Oh, he had 1 bad week.
Oh no, I'm saying, what did he do?
He almost set the NFL receiving record.
What did he do week 1? And what did he do in the fantasy football finals?
I'm saying that's 2
because
weeks.
They schemed for him differently. You can neutralize a good player if that is the MO of the defense. They might scheme to take DJ Moore away.
Eric, there is no doubt that Cole Kmet is a good football player, but he is not a good fantasy asset this year.
I think I would take him at tight end 13.
I will give you tight end 13.
That is saying that's your backup tight end in a 12 team.
But why is that something we're arguing for right now?
Because he could finish higher than tight end 13. And if you don't have a top option, it's basically
what number do you want, Doc?
This is tight end 13.
What number do you want, Doc?
Okay.
I'll make a Cole Kmet bet.
I guarantee you he finishes within the top 11.
Oh. Done. Done.
Okay.
Done.
But if you don't if you don't get a top tight end, it's basically touchdown or bust, right?
But he doesn't score touchdowns.
He's right
either.
there. He is right there. And depending on how their schedule starts, and I don't have that in front of me, he's one of them tight ends at the end of my draft where I'm like, okay, what's their first 4 weeks like? Is it teams that are really bad against the tight end? Do I have a possibility of a touchdown? But I'm still going to go on Zach's side for this bet because, he had 1 catch and beat your Niners, and
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys which of these tight ends would you take?
He didn't even get notice.
Would you take Cole Kmet or would you take David Njoku?
Njoku.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you take Cole Kmet or Dalton Schultz?
Dalton Schultz.
Still Schultz.
I'm a Dalton Schultz guy, so that was
Okay. I mean, I'm putting Cole Kmet right in that category.
You're by yourself, my friend. It's a very lonely island over there.
I mean, here's my thing. I just want a perfect
You are now
Sunday.
committed.
I want a perfect. I'm just saying he could tight end, finish within a top 10 tight end finish.
Well, you said 11. So
Okay, I'll give you top
going top
11.
10.
So now you're getting better. You're getting better value than you drafted him for. You're going to.
I'd rather have like a Gerald Everett than Cole Kmet.
Let me ask you this question, Eric. Chig, Okonkwo, or Cole Kmet?
Oh, Cole Kmet all day.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's the easier name to say.
Ugly. The Titans' offense is so ugly.
Okay, the Bears' offense was like, it wasn't good last year.
But the Bears' offense got DJ Moore.
Yeah, the Bears' offense is going to be better. Are we? Eric,
Cole
want to make
Kmet
a
has
bet right
took
now?
this whole show apart.
We have to finish it on this one right here. Thank you, down on the farm. As a Bears fan, I want no fantasy shares of Kmet.
Vinny does prospects. All right, Vinny doesn't do NFL.
He trades sports cards from all different sports. So he knows football.
Vinny's good at knowing what 17-year-olds are going to rack up in AAA and who we should be looking at in
Except
Dynasty.
he's right here. So wait, do you want to make a bet?
You're going to get better value on Cole Kmet than where he's ranked right now.
I can't believe Cole Kmet has took this show over. Like
he really did.
I can't believe how low
style.
you are on him.
So, Eric, Chig, I'll take Chig. You take straight up Chig versus Cole Kmet.
Yeah, okay, well, how many games do they have to play?
At least 12. Is 12 a good number?
Sure.
Deal.
Cool. And I still have
I just want the
Kmet
show
will be
to know
lower
that
than
we have
511.
bets. We have bets on Cole Kmet and Marshall, Terrace
Oh,
Marshall. Like
you know
we're
what?
talking about all the terrible players in the NFL.
If I am watching NFL Sunday, Scott Hansen's on there, Cole Kmet gets a touchdown. Oh, we got a red alert. And then it's like Terrace Marshall with like a 90-yard touchdown.
I will block you.
I might spontaneously combust.
I will block your phone number because I am not dealing with that.
Oh my gosh, Joe, you might have to block me on all social media.
Oh,
I might have to find out your email.
Well, if anyone's still watching, this is why you come to AAA Fantasy. So you can hear us really go into Cole Kmet, Terrace Marshall. We have the NFC West next episode. Who knows what random player we're going to pick to argue about, but I can't wait. Probably
Van
Ross
Jefferson.
Dwelly. I'm calling
Michael
Ross Dwelly
Wilson.
right now.
Oh God.
Place your bets now. Who's the player going to be?
Hey, Jordan Mason, baby. We're Team Jordan Mason.
Oh my Lord.
Who will we argue about? But I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you, David, for guesting. We'll have to get you on a couple more times before the baby's here. And then once you're sleep deprived, your takes will be even better. We'll get that Greg Dortch bet going again. But thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in. The comments were great. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait for 5, 6. We'll go 6 months from now where I can win that Cole Kmet bet. That was the easiest bet I've ever made in my life. Thank you so much, Doc. But thank you, Joe. Thank you, David. Thank you all out there. Make sure you go ahead, hit that subscribe, like button. I promise you it is worth it, even if we're just arguing about Cole Kmet. The guys put out a lot of great content. We got baseball. We got basketball. Obviously, we got the football coming as well. So thank you all. Have a great night and be safe out there.